dead. Please start the preview player.
Is Johnny working?
Okay. Oh. Start streaming. It says waiting for me. Maybe we're not even streaming at all. Okay, so now we're live. What is going on? Are we live or are we not live? I hit start streaming like forever ago. Look at this. It's just not... Oh, all right. YouTube is driving me nuts. It's been a minute. I've been doing a lot of Skype interviews. It's been a minute since I did one of these. I didn't realize it was so finicky. But we are now live.
Yes,
even
sir.
though we just did a couple minutes of introduction to no one. Reggie, good to have you back on.
Man, good to be back on, bro. It's good to kick it with you again and come politic with you and speak on some important things.
Well, I mean, we got different perspectives, but every time we talk, it seems like we got a similar mindset. So it's like just finding balance and shit, I guess.
Definitely.
So, one of the first things we were going to talk about, I figured we'll just get out of the way. Just talk about brother Jussie. See what's he been doing? Because I knew that day.
Jussie.
I knew that day nothing happened.
Duh, bro. Bro.
That was the day it was -15. Remember that?
Dude, it was worse than that. It was like -30 something.
Well, that was the wind chill. But I remember sitting in the cold in my apartment and seeing this headline that someone goes out lynch. I'm like, who's outside right now?
Really, though?
Like, I made a joke to my friends. I'm like, these must be the most loyal racists of all time. Like, I'm not condoning what they did, but it's amazing that they did it.
Yeah. I knew that shit was bullshit, bro.
That was some bullshit. And there's no camera footage or nothing.
Exactly.
That was a big thing.
That was my number one.
So many cameras in this city.
Exactly. That was my number one, like, gripe. As soon as I heard the news, I was like, no camera footage? Come on, bro. No footage?
Yeah.
Like, something's fishy, my boy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I don't know, man. On the whole, I'm disappointed. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's one guy trying to make himself look good. I don't know what I was about to say he tried to like better himself, but I don't know what his goal was. Actually, I'm gonna take a step back there. That's not true either.
That was a classic pity play, my brother.
It was
classic pity play.
It didn't even look good. Like, there's not for 1 second. I've never seen the show Empire, but
I don't watch it either.
If that's how that dude acts, I'm not watching Empire. I'll tell you that.
I mean, shit, it's safe to watch it now. They took his ass off of there, so.
Well, no, he's gonna be back on now.
Who said that?
That's what I thought I heard. I mean, I don't really care either way, but that's what they were saying. I don't know.
No, man. Either way, I ain't watched to begin with, so I ain't worried about it. But
nah, me neither.
I don't know, man. That just, it was disappointing because it was like my big question is why? Like, you were already like your career was going okay. Like, I mean, you weren't like Tom Cruise, but you was working. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you gotta? I don't know.
You're not Tom Cruise, not Tom Brady. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. These
wants more.
Even
want it all.
I was gonna say more. Who you'd be trying to go for? Who's like the top African American actor right now? I'm trying to think. Like Idris Elba, but he's like European. He's like, if I had to think of the guy you want to cast, you know?
Yeah.
But he's the dude.
Yeah, he is.
Like James Bond, like they were talking about him for James Bond.
Yeah, historically it's been Denzel Washington though. Like that's.
But Denzel's like taking a step back. He hasn't like done anything big.
That's what I'm
like
saying.
Denzel is holding the crown, but he's not like wearing it.
Yeah.
Court's not in session.
I mean, we got some new hot guys. Like,
there are,
you know what I'm saying?
but none of them have separated themselves from the pack yet.
Exactly. Like people are. Well, I think a couple have,
but that's why I'm asking. I mean, maybe.
I
haven't been watching a lot of new movies recently, so I might have missed shit entirely.
I'm not gonna lie, I have not been watching.
Okay. I was gonna say,
but I mean, just
there haven't been many movies that I'm like, wow, I need to watch that.
There have been like a couple for me. I just haven't gotten around to it, but there are some guys. I think like Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, I didn't even think of him.
He's a standout, definitely.
He is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's funny because as much heralding as Black Panther got, I think that's one of his worst roles. Like, of the movies I've seen him in and other stuff, you know? Like it was such a cookie cutter, like...
Yeah, you just mean in comparison to the other roles.
Yeah, that's all I mean. No, I'm not saying he did a bad job. I think he did a great job of the role. But it's just like, what people know him for is like, I thought he did a great job in Creed. For one.
Yeah, definitely.
But actually, my first exposure to him was in 2K.
What's that?
He was like 2K basketball.
Really?
Yeah, he was like your sidekick. They in one of the My Career modes.
What?
That no matter what team you get drafted to, he gets drafted. And they did like the story mode.
Oh.
And he did. And here's the thing: is it was kind of annoying. I'll be honest with you. But for like the ambitiousness of what they try to do, Michael B. Jordan or Michael C. B. Michael B. Jordan, he did a really good job for like a really tough role, like because he was always your point guard. So the whole point was like in this My Career mode, people were complaining that you play like center, and the AI would always struggle to play with you. Like you never had, like, even though it was Derrick Rose like never passed to you, and you're like, what? Or Curry, he's just pulling up for three, and it's like AI, and like the whole point is like My Career mode.
Yeah.
So what he is, he's always your point guard. He's always your assist man. It's a smart thing for them to do. Mm-hmm. But Michael B. Jordan had this whole story about how your orange juice was like this. That's the name of your duo. They're trying.
Orange juice.
Yeah. It was really, really corny, man.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he that's the first thing I saw him. I was like, this guy's actually a good actor though. For like as corny as this like little display is. I didn't mean to talk about that. We're just talking about.
That's interesting. Now I like want to like.
Yeah. Here I'll pull it up.
I mean, because I don't even play 2K. That's why it's like news to me.
Michael.
So it's like,
Orange Juice 2K 17. That was it.
Juice
Here it is. Hold up. This is
Instinct.
Here.
Yeah, I mean,
Here's the
I guess I just felt like I left something behind,
Here.
you know? Like we still had more to
Here it
do.
is.
Nah, that's just hindsight.
I don't know about that.
Look, man, the best thing you can do is make the most of the present. The past, it only feeds the future.
You're right about that.
Hey, 4 years of college, degree.
This is just like
Boy,
my
is smart.
career, like,
Whatever,
they
man.
took you through this
All right,
whole
pass the
thing.
remote. Let's get it started.
Wait. Check out the rest of this Bulls
You
game.
have to do like hours of that.
See how they everywhere? Look at
That's why I was like.
That's how we gotta be.
Dang, man, it's like there's stuff.
But that's the guy. All right. So
Michael B, man, you're working out here.
what's
I
that?
see you pimping. I said, Michael B, man, he out here working.
Yeah,
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. That's the thing. He's doing all the gigs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with Jussie, you heard about Chicago prosecutor Kim Foxx.
I've been reading about that like all week in the paper every day at work.
Yeah, and I mean, what have you heard about Kim Foxx? I mean, with R. Kelly recently and Jussie Smollet, it's been an interesting time. And actually, I was doing a little research into Kim, and it says here that I didn't know this when I was doing research before getting you on. Mm-hmm. So currently serving state attorneys for Cook County, which is the county for Chicago. She manages the nation's second largest prosecutor's office and oversees an office of over nearly 800 attorneys, 1,500 employees. That's huge.
Hell yeah.
I mean, that's huge. And just to see such a high-profile national story get swept under the rug, nothing?
Dude, that's what boggles my mind about it, bro. Like, charges dropped how? Like,
I mean, I don't know how there's one person who's just like, that's what happens. That's okay. You know? Mm-hmm. I'm going to transition so you're not hidden anymore. But it's that was the big thing that struck me. And, I mean, do you have more stories of maybe Chicago history? Because that was one of the things is they're pointing out that Chicago has had a lot of corruption. And I'm sure it's stuff on a lot of different sides of the fence, you know, the corporate side, the social side, the gang crime is.
well,
people don't always talk about it.
I am almost lifelong resident of the city of Chicago. I lived out of Chicago for like 1 or 2 years. When I lived in Florida, I was like 2, so I don't even remember anything about that.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
But as far as the history of corruption in the city, I couldn't give you like specific names or dates and politicians and things, but I can tell you this. Mm-hmm. And this is just some anecdotal.
That's all I'm looking for, man.
Yeah, is my father, my grandfather, both complain about the same shit.
Really?
Like that I complain about, like that we complain about.
It's just
like,
it's been rolling downhill, but hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah, it's like generation to generation to like the same shit that happens now. Like my grandpa would be like, "Yep, they still doing that." Huh? I'd be like, "Damn!" Like, it's so deep rooted. You know what I'm saying?
And it just feels like there's no degree of like activism or, I don't know, to make it stop, because there's so many people involved in it. It's just like,
yeah, for one, it's wide reaching.
There's so much bureaucracy that
exactly, and then it's just so much like
800 attorneys for the prosecutor's office.
Exactly.
And
then that's just like the prosecutor's office. Then you got like the police department. They doing anything, and then you got like the fucking governor's office.
But to me, wouldn't more bureaucracy make it harder for someone to get away with something? Like, especially something this big. The small stuff, yeah, if you know somebody, just sweep it on the rug. But to have something like Jussie Smollet that got so much national attention, like, to just be like, that just means that, like, the machine just worked there. It was like, oh, get this guy off. Everyone make sure, and it happened. You'd think there'd be, like, one person like, no. But I guess just, like, that was what got me thinking. It's like, is everything just that greasy in the law justice area?
That greasy.
It's greasy. It's people giving each other money, people giving each other favors, making sure their bellies stay full, and they're,
Well, for one, I think nepotism is an issue.
That's got to be it. For anyone who doesn't know, nepotism is normally like family or at least very close relations, and then giving those people the job.
So I think
good word, by the way.
Vocabulary word of the day. But so I think that's an issue in a sense that, like, in Chicago you have like political families that are like dynasties.
Oh yeah,
you have political families that, like, oh, his son.
It's almost back to like monarchy.
Exactly.
Yeah, like landed estates.
Exactly. There's like, oh, his son was the governor. Then his cousin was like an alderman, and then like his uncle was like a fucking the comptroller. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the whole. It's like, and then
their son is either in aid and works their way up, or they at least have a position there now. And think of how many people, like, their son never made it to the same level as the father or the mother. It's becoming more progressive. It used to be pretty much all males in government, but you get all these people and they're at least in the same club. It's like, I know your father, and you might only be a low level like secretary aide, but my father says something needs to happen. That's where I think all the small stuff happens, where papers get lost.
Yeah, because Chicago, in Chicago politics / law enforcement, one thing you'll notice that, like, whenever something happens in Chicago, all of a sudden it's like nobody knows anything. Nobody knows nothing. Yeah. We can't get no answers. We can't. The Department of fucking Justice couldn't be reached for comment. It's like, nigga, what? Like,
you're supposed to be there when we. Yeah, you're
like,
supposed to be telling us exactly what's going on.
And then we reached the Department of so and so to find the records, and they're telling us that they don't have them or whatever.
Just Eric's. I forgot to pull up the chat. Eric's saying, finally you guys are on the air. Southern Illinois needs to declare independence from the rest of Illinois.
It's a different world, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
it really is, bro. The times I've been down in Southern Illinois, I'll be like, damn, bro. I feel like I'm like really down south sometimes. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of where Southern Illinois is probably a lot closer to the part of Ohio I'm from, and it's just like less people. I mean, look at you two, man. This is just literally. I hope the stream's working, because the feedback I'm getting is like literally awful. Okay. Anyway, like, I think that sums it up. That it's pretty corrupt, but it's like the people. Everyone knows it, though. It's kind of what you're saying, and I wonder, is it even worth it to like get upset about?
Oh, it's definitely worth it to get upset about, but I think
it just feels like nothing really comes from it, or has.
Well, if you ask me, and this is just my humble opinion, I'm one man.
All I can ask for, man.
There have been people, like, okay, take for instance, I've been reading, or I saw this headline, I think online or like somewhere, about dead activists.
Dead activists?
Like activists, particularly like black activists that have been killed.
There was a guy from LA recently. What's his name? Nipsey
Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle. Yeah, Nipsey Hussle.
Oh my god!
I was just hearing about that the other day.
Bro. Oh my god!
I didn't have that on the list, but I was just reading about that today. That was. Do we want to do a shift there? Do you want me to pull up Nipsey Hussle, or?
That just hurt me, man. When you just brought it up, I forgot all about Nip, bro.
I'm sorry.
That shit fucked up.
But that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was a rapper and an activist, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for all the people out there who don't know, Nipsey Hussle was a rapper from LA.
Hold up.
Like he said, he was a well-known like activist. He did a lot of community work, opened a lot of businesses in the community. You know what I'm saying? And did a lot of good for a lot of people. Gave out a lot of jobs, helped out schools, and a lot of things like that. But unfortunately, and this is the reality, my man's was also from the hood. He's from the block, so he was
Dead at 33. Damn.
33 years old. He was a Crip. He was part of the Rolling 60s Crip from I believe it's the Crenshaw neighborhood in LA.
Yeah, that's what's saying Crenshaw.
Exactly. So yeah, man. So he was in the streets and shit. I guess the shit caught up with him, and it's sad and it's crazy because he was a great guy, and I liked his music. And
I was listening to something earlier today that they're saying that he was supposed to meet up with the chief of police or something.
yeah, he was supposed to meet up with the police department in LA
was like
to
that
discuss
day.
like gang violence.
Or it was like the day before or something. He was supposed to meet and like make things better.
Mm-hmm.
And literally like someone put a hit on him and took him out. Or that's the theory. That,
they say they know the story now. I was
oh, do they?
just
Oh,
reading
okay,
about
okay.
They say that he was a Crip, so
Okay. Yeah,
um
I'm gonna switch back to.
so yeah, it's really fucked up, bro. Like it's fucked up. But so basically, what happened is this: he was in front of his store. He had a clothing store called Marathon.
Oh yeah,
In
I saw.
his neighborhood where he's from, the Crenshaw neighborhood. So he owns a lot of businesses on that particular block. So he's standing in front of his Marathon store, and a guy comes up, a guy named Eric Holder.
I heard that name. Yeah.
That's the guy's name. They said it's like his street name. He a gangbanger too. He said his street name, but I forgot what it was. But the dude's legal name is Eric Holder. And basically they say what happened is this. Eric Holder was a snitch, basically meaning he was a gang member that started talking to police and cooperating with law enforcement, which if you're in the streets, if you're in the gang world, that's a no-no.
Yep.
Obviously.
I mean, you like have to have that discipline or else your whole operation falls apart.
Exactly. So he broke that little code and he got branded. So now dudes from his neighborhood and dudes from his hood don't fuck with him and don't mess with him because you a snitch, bro. We can't fuck with you. So he comes up to the store with his girl, talks to Nipsey. Nipsey basically says, "You a snitch ass nigga, you a bitch ass nigga. Get out of here. You feel me? We can't fuck with you." He says, "What? Alright, cool." He gets embarrassed in front of his girl. He goes back to his car, pop the trunk, get the little pipe out, get his little piece out, come back, pop Nipsey 5 times, and
He did that independently, or did someone was?
No, he just did that.
But no one was like, "Hey man, get it." He did it on
just
his own.
It was just him and his girl.
And he saw him.
And he got embarrassed in front of his girl because Nipsey told him, "Nah, bro, you can't hang around here. You can't be around here. We don't fuck with you. You gotta go."
Dang.
Because I guess he thought he was finna go in the store and buy something, but Nip was like, "Nah, bro, get your ass out of here." And he got embarrassed, and so he came back and popped Nip. And then
So it had nothing to do with the.
well,
Might not have.
I'm look, personally, I'm a conspiracy theorist too. I do it for fun. I enjoy it. And who knows? He could have been paid by someone to. We don't know.
I'll put it this way: as being a conspiracy theory kind of person, like the first thing I jumped to is like, okay, he was about to meet with the police. Chances are good someone didn't want him to.
Well, the big reason that people say they wanted to kill him was because of Dr. Seve. You know Dr. Seve?
You're opening my mind right now.
So Dr. Seve is a.
Should I be pulling up Dr. Seve?
Yeah, man. Shit, yeah, pull him up, man. This is the reason why people say the origin of the conspiracy theory. Can we talk?
Yeah, you're good.
So Dr. Seve, for all of those who don't know, is basically a holistic healer /
Oh, from Honduras.
Yeah, he's an old black Honduran Afro Latino brother, and basically he's all about holistic health and healing. So he found a way, in a nutshell, to cure AIDS, and he literally went to court
to cure AIDS.
And he went to court. It went to the Supreme Court, and he won the case. 1995, he won the case.
Because hold up, I'm on Wikipedia right now.
Or something like that.
And it says Bowman was not a doctor and was considered a quack by actual doctors, attorneys, and consumer product protection agencies.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And
that's why I say he's like a holistic, healer.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's part of the Afrocentric movement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, But what? Lawsuits here, 1987, 1993. Is this... Didn't say anything about 1995. Maybe this is 1993.
Bro,
Dating.
what you need to do is
Yeah.
look up the Nipsey Hussle interview where he was talking about Dr. Sebi, because what Nipsey Hussle was about to do before he died was he was working on a documentary about Dr. Sebi.
I heard that for like a split second. That was it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he wanted to talk about that particular case where he went to the Supreme Court and he had a claim that he could cure AIDS and he won the case, so he wanted to talk about it. Yeah.
There's a lot of little jewels that you saying in there. That's what I like. Like I said, the medicine really is in the candy. Because even when you drop a bar like about Dr. Sebi,
Yeah.
like just that one thing, they killed Dr. Sebi, will make somebody go research who
100%.
Dr. Sebi is.
100%.
Dr. Sebi.
Dr.
I thought it was
Yeah.
Sebi.
That's Stevie.
Sebi.
See, my bad. I said it
You
wrong.
said
Yeah.
Stevie too.
Yeah. I'm
I
a
thought
LA
it was
nigga, man.
Sebi
My
too.
lingo a little
Have
different.
you met
man.
Dr. Stevie?
I never met him. I met his wife, and I take his products for sure.
Now the coolest guy ever. I mean, he was.
That's
when we
Nipsey in Red?
interviewed him. I think he
Yes.
was about 74.
Oh, y'all interviewed him?
Yeah, we interviewed him twice.
Damn.
Not here, but when I was on the other show, he was able to jump from the floor up here on his knees.
At
Where he jumped
70
and
something.
pulled on his knees
Yeah.
and jump back down and no problems, nothing like that.
Why you think
He
they
had-
killed him?
Why do they kill all holistic doctors?
Right.
Messing up the medical industry.
It's, you
fucking up the
playing,
money.
you short stopping their grind. Why do niggas get killed for hustling in front of a nigga spot? You short stopping the grind. And these niggas, they check is billions. You got niggas that get flipped for a couple $100,000.
So I know you can't hear. Sorry, I assume you've already heard this. But he's
Yeah.
saying he's stopping their grind. They're on his street corner. They're on his turf, and that's why they killed him. Why they kill any? Damn, dude. The whole point of me doing this is talking conspiracy theories is to get people on, talk them out, and rationalize them so I don't have more. Not to find more rabbit holes to go down. This is why I like having you on, but
Hey, you know how I do, bro. You know what I'm saying? I always, I'm always trying to find out, read between the lines and see what may or may not be, because it's all, it's hearsay.
this is getting liked and put in a folder for later. So
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a step back from Dr. Sebi and Nipsey Hussle.
No problem.
And let's just, for the sake of time, actually, hold up. Let's see where Eric is.
Yeah,
See if
man.
he's still okay.
And also 1 second before we do that, I do want to sincerely say, man, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I was in LA the week his album dropped. It inspired me as an artist to be a better artist, and it's so crazy that he got lost in senseless violence like that didn't have to happen. So R.I.P. to him, and much love to his kids and his fiance, bro, because he was gonna get married. So.
Oh, man. That's you. Damn. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I didn't really know him for very long, but it's just like another activist that a lot of people. I mean, I think the biggest thing we can do is talk about him and say exactly what we're doing now. It's like if people don't ever hear about it, you just get swept under the rug like Smollet charges. Mm-hmm.
Dude,
tie it back in.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, and yeah. You want to keep awareness around these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And speaking of awareness,
You can't ride it out and just be like, I'm broken. I'm like, you can't emotionally. You have to like logically keep it in your mind. You get emotional. That's where it starts leaking out into everything else. Leaking. You gotta keep a tight ship.
Exactly.
Sorry, you gonna say?
Yeah, but I was gonna say, speaking of keeping attention on things,
Yeah.
my attention is still firmly focused on this one question in particular. How the fuck did this man's charges get dropped? Like, what? Like, bro, I actually read in the paper, though, in regards to that question, I read in the paper that a family member of Jussie Smollett's, who worked for Michelle Obama,
Yeah.
reached out to Kim Fox.
It was Obama's former Secretary of State. Honestly, I was going to talk to you about that, but I wasn't sure if you wanted me to get the Obamas involved.
Oh, no.
I wasn't sure if that was a bridge too far.
No, that's just facts, man.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, if it's
Well,
facts, it's facts.
I mean, I don't know. I'm talking about gang violence. I wasn't sure. Talking about the Obamas, too.
That's facts.
It's like
Hey, look,
9/11
bro.
on top of 9/11.
Hey, look, bro. Trust me. If something ever come up that you feel me, I'll let you know. You feel
All
me?
right, that's
But-
fair. That's
but for
fair.
me,
But yeah,
it's-
I heard that Michelle Obama reached out to Lori Chen or something. She was a
don't know her
Chinese
name.
woman, or I think,
yeah.
and she called her up and said, "Hey, talk to Kim Fox." Jussie
Yeah.
is.
I would love to hear what that phone conversation was like.
Well, just to wrap up, Jussie. One of the things that right away I knew he was guilty was he did that interview with, I forget, the lady with the short hair. I think it was MSNBC. It was like one of the first interviews he had. It was like 2 days after or something.
Was it Gail?
Was it
Gayle
Gayle?
King.
Gayle King. That was it. Gayle King. I couldn't. I'm so bad at remembering all their
Yeah,
names.
Gayle King been killing the interview game.
Well, the funny thing is,
shout out to Gayle King.
she is good, and that's why I don't remember her name. I only remember the people I don't like.
True.
You know, if I don't remember your name, it's because you're doing your job amazingly, and I haven't had to look into you.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, you're doing it.
But
But
bro, is that thing been right the whole time?
what's that?
Is that thing been like blocking my face the whole time?
Yeah, it has. Because every time I do that,
Forget to like move that shit.
I have to switch screens. It's a little process, and I have to switch only camera transition. Hey, we can see you again. So Eric's not really saying anything, so I'm trying to jump back to in case Eric wants to say something, but here we go. So next thing I was gonna open a world for you was talking about creepy Uncle Joe.
Creepy, yes. What? Educate me, man.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: is actually you're a little behind the 8 ball because the right wing media that I subscribe to a bit.
The right wing media.
They have been all on this, and the funny thing is some of the people I follow, they were talking about this literally over a year ago.
What is this? What is this of which you
Well,
speak?
I need to build some suspense. I'm an artist, man.
all right.
Because this is framing the narrative.
Artist to artist. I'm gonna go ahead and do your thing.
But yeah. So what was I saying? That so people have been talking about this, and the thing is Joe Biden is currently leading the polls as the Democratic person to run against Trump. This is a very important role. I mean, even if like I'm a begrudging Trump supporter. We can get into that a whole nother time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, we can get into. I'm a begrudging Trump supporter. I'll explain that. I'm not afraid to. It's just we're staying on topic at the moment. But for people like me, I think the person that runs against Trump, he's not going to lose in the primary. He's going to be Republican. He's got their nomination. So whoever runs against them, Democrats, is the person who's going to try to usurp the throne. I don't think Joe Biden can do that. First off, my whole point is he's a white man, and the way the left is structured right now, it's got to be a colored woman. That the way the vocal side of the left is, they want a woman in general, not the majority. I'm talking the loudest, and probably a colored person as well. Because we had Obama. You can't. And when I say colored, I'm saying like Asian is up there. You know,
a person of color.
A person of color. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I think they're gonna want their cake and eat it too. Is they're gonna want. So when I see Joe Biden, even if he was Obama's vice president, is like, I just don't see him remaining in that spot. That eventually something like this is going to come up. And this is something worth talking about. And here we go. So this is just me. Oh, I'm going to bring it a little closer. This is just me Google searching for literally creepy Uncle Joe. This is just a Google search. What comes up? So what strikes your fancy? And hold on. I need to switch back to the screen. I'm going to cover your face. Actually, maybe I can move this over here so it only has you.
I'm the star.
You're the star of the show now. How about that? It's gonna awkward setup, but
I'm with it.
So where are we looking? What picture we want to click on here? Him sniffing Nevada.
Sniffing.
Right
that's so creepy.
This one right here. Sniffing hair.
That's so creepy.
Or how about kissing a little kid on the mouth?
That's also very, very creepy.
How about all of these?
Yeah. That's not a good look, dog.
I mean, this is a meme, by the way.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
This picture, because that's the one dude from the Bernie debate that they've literally memed. That's a meme on a meme now.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so I've actually got a little video. And this is for you to put the headphones on and listen with the crowd.
Thank you, sir.
So, all right. So what this is this is from C-SPAN. Actually, most of this bad footage of him isn't an exclusive, but it's a lot of the vice president is the one who's there for swearing in. It's the same. Mike Pence was there for like AOC. The same. It's just flip flopped. So this is him swearing in a senator, and watch. There's gonna be a little girl who comes up in the middle of the aisle, and he's gonna say, "Who's that beautiful little girl?" And I'm gonna skip around, and you'll see why it's really one of the worst.
Who is that beautiful child? She's hiding. Hey, Kel.
Hey, Bailey, come on.
You can go. Ain't you been such a good girl?
bit.
Who's that?
Isn't that creepy though? So they're swearing. They're swearing. In, okay, here's where it gets bad. Because the girl was gone. This is where it gets bad.
You guys stand next to me.
Yeah.
Dad, you're going to be in the middle here.
Okay.
If you would.
You stand there. You stand there.
If you would.
Dad, stand there.
Very good.
And
Hey guys, come
can you
on.
guys stand next to me?
Over by mom, baby. They don't want to be by the crazy man. No, right there.
All right. Okay, you ready? You know, Kel's an attorney general. He'll appreciate it. If you understand it now, they say, put your right hand on the Bible. Yeah, put your left hand on your right. So you just what you get used to. All right, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion? And congratulations.
I'm not gonna say. I'm just pointing it out. And then I think there's a second girl at the end of this video.
Crispy shot.
Yeah, grabbing her corner hair.
This is gonna sound extremely weird
Okay, good.
in regards to a child, but he hitting her with the like.
And that's the end. These are the pictures you see on CNN, though. That's what you see on CNN.
I mean, of course,
That's
they're
normal.
gonna show like the best one.
But you don't see everything else. And then here, this is. All right, there's a girl in a red dress here. We'll start off with that. He just pulls her over. And look at her.
Oh no, the face she did. She was just like.
Yeah, it's like bad quality, but you can see she's just like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, this is a revelation, frankly. For
Oh,
me.
this isn't even the best though. You know who Jeff Sessions is, right? This is the grand finale. You know who Jeff Sessions is? Crazy old white dude from Alabama. Actually, I hate Jeff Sessions, but look at what Jeff Sessions does okay, so here's Jeff Sessions on the left and his daughter is right there. No. Oh, you gotta watch it again then. Yeah, Joe Biden. Watch Joe Biden right away. He's in the middle. Look at his eyes. He's like little kid. He's like, I'm gonna come in. You see Jeff Sessions? He claws him away. He claws him away. You watch the slow motion here. He like that face on Joe Biden though. Coming in for the kill. Jeff Sessions. Shoo. Shoo fly, don't bother me.
That's like some real like family reunion. Don't leave the kids around Uncle So and So.
That's why I call him Creepy Uncle Joe. He's a little touchy feely, and that's only with children. He does this to grown women. He like sniffs their hair. He's always like hand up on the shoulder. It's like he's going from all angles. I've seen the tape. I've seen the tape.
I've
seen the tape, man. So yeah, there's that. Do you want to switch back to the other view, or you like being the star of the show?
Hey man, you already know I'm gonna say I like being the star.
Okay, all right.
But we can switch it.
Because that was all I want to say about Creepy Uncle Joe. There's not much more to be said. You can look into more of that.
I don't think I will.
So for the finale,
that was enough for me.
NPC meme. It's actually probably better if you look over on this
I've
side.
seen these memes.
Okay.
I've seen these memes.
For anyone who doesn't know, NPC means non-player character.
Exactly.
So in a video game,
those are the random people that you.
It's
like,
literally anyone that isn't the person you're controlling with your controller.
Yeah, those random people that you piss on and shit in video games.
Or in that give you quests, or the people that go with you. Man, you're glass half empty. I'm glass half full.
Hey,
the people you chop up.
Fun. Well, you can only do that in like one game, but you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, they're the people. But the thing is, and this is why it's so funny, is that a lot of these people in the games, they're just on a loop. They only do a few behaviors, and unless the programmer tweaks a few things, they don't do much else. Mm-hmm. That is the insult of saying people are NPCs.
I feel that. You're like a non-factor in the world. You are just a.
Well, and the thing is, like, here's NPCs like relying on each other. Here's another one, like a black Trump supporter. You're a white supremacist.
I just love the face.
This is stuff like this. But here's I was gonna go to the Reddit. I pulled this up earlier. This is a quick video meme. You ready for this?
About as ready as BuzzFeed. Shots fired. On the NPCs at BuzzFeed. Oh, shit. Sucks with the problem. Hate this shit. Self-righteousness.
How dare people not like what I like? Do you see the Starbucks in the little?
I'm always right.
Do you see the pastry in the Starbucks?
Yeah.
Who the fuck wrote this bullshit? Well, it's got all of them now. Kotaku, Vice. You are all wrong. Learn to code. Beep boop. Beep boop.
Damn. Is that a real? That's not a real headline.
Yeah,
That's real?
dude, they lost their jobs.
That's terrible.
Dude, you didn't know that?
I did not know
Dude,
that.
have you not heard about the Learn to Code meme?
The what? What? The
Learn
what?
to
What?
code. Learn to code meme.
I think I've heard of it, but I'm not.
It's not. Well, it's like a meme, but it's actually like more serious than that because. So that's actually a true story. That little BuzzFeed thing. Like there are people who literally are those NPCs. You can go out, find them. They have names, and they're complaining that they don't have jobs anymore because no one wants to read those damn articles at the bottom of news pages that say 5 ways your cat might actually be a dog. Like, no one wants those articles, but they keep getting paid this, $50K salary to have soy lattes and do a bunch of dumb shit. And they're like, well, this just isn't fair. So a bunch of people who are coders, or at least are affiliated with people who code, started making jokes, and they just comment # learn to code on their virtue signaling statuses. And here's the problem, is Twitter started banning people for tweeting that.
No good.
I'll just drop it there. But the one thing is, if you are interested in this learn to code issue, YouTube, there is a Joe Rogan. There's a Joe Rogan for that.
There's a Joe Rogan for everything, man.
Jack,
Joe Rogan.
have you seen the Jack Dorsey Joe Rogan?
The Jack who and Joe Rogan?
This one.
Jack Dorsey. Who is Jack
Really
Dorsey?
don't sound as bad
Jack
as
Dorsey
calling
is the CEO of Twitter.
Oh, word. Okay.
This is
people ideologically
All right. So
5,
this is a podcast I recommend.
but it's something.
That if
It
you're
is, it
interested in
is.
learning
So I don't
code,
want
Tim
people to
Pool
think,
is
you know.
a journalist who is independent. He's actually from Chicago. Interesting guy. He's way further left than me, but he calls out the left on their bullshit, and he at least talks to the right, which I respect the shit out of him for that. He
Whatever.
is also
You're
on
the
with
CEO
Joe
of Square, I
Rogan,
think, right?
Yep.
and
Yeah, there you
on
go.
the show,
There you
Jack
go.
We on the
Dorsey.
Cash App,
He's the
so.
CEO of Twitter.
And the reison why we decided to come together is we had I thought a great conversation last time, but there was a lot of people that were upset that there were some issues that we didn't discuss, or
He is
it has a nature image of
And
natural
then
predatory
his
behavior.
Indian,
On this particular
attorney.
case, it's probably
Or
an
it's
algorithm that
attorney, or
detected
she's-
it
I think she's an
and
attorney.
made some sort of an
She's
assessment. But as a general rule, how we
I felt bad
operate
for
as a
this
company
woman,
is
but
we
she was the one
rely
who
on
had to
people to
defend
report
all their,
information to us.
stuff.
So if
And
you look at
actually,
any
if you watch
tweet,
the
you
full
can kind
thing,
of
which
pull
is
down on the carrot on the right, and you
3
can
hours
say
long,
report
I
the tweet,
have.
and then you have a bunch of categories you can choose from
Mhm.
of what you want to report.
I'm interested.
I think this one in particular,
very
though, is
interested.
probably an algorithm.
And I'm,
So
You
how
will
does
listen to the same
does he have the
conversation I
option
will.
to protest
have.
that or to
And
ask someone
they
to
get caught,
review it?
like,
Absolutely,
Tim
and
was ready.
I'm
The guy on
guessing
the
that
left,
people are
he's
already
like,
reviewing
"Listen,
it, but
why
there's a
did you
choice
have
to appeal
so-and-so
any
get banned?
action,
Why
and that
did
would go
so-and-so get
to
banned?"
a
And they're
human
just
to make
like,
sure
well,
that it is actually
we're
a violation of the
actively
rules,
looking
or
to maintain
in this case, if it's
balance
not,
on
then
the
it would be
platform.
removed.
Is that a
There are
violation of the
terms and
rules?
conditions,
That
and
image?
if they
I don't
defy-
think
if they
so.
went
I don't think
against
that
the
that would
terms and
be what we're
conditions,
trying to
they got
capture
banned.
in terms
And
of
Tim's
graphic
like,
images
I
in
would-
an
I
avatar. It's more
anticipated
about
you saying
violence
that,
towards
and I brought up
humans,
what the
unless it was
tweets
some
are.
sort of
Here they
cruelty
are, and,
depicting
like,
animals
literally,
or
they're just
something
getting
like
back to
that.
the
But
corner
this
and they had
seems
nothing.
not
Just
the
like-
intention of the rule.
Does this
and
this
then
one of the
Tim
reasons
even
why I
said,
wanted to
he's
bring
like,
this up
why is it
immediately?
only,
Does this highlight a
regular
flaw in
people
the
that are getting
system in that
banned?
people
And
can
Tim's like, I'm a left
target
guy.
an individual,
like,
because with
I
him,
know that me
he's
as a journalist, I can't
like I said,
do
he's a
my
doctor
job
and a proponent
if
of this
the
carnivore diet, but
people
he's
I am-
also
not my
ruthless in
opponents, but the
his
people are
condemnation
ideologically
and
different
mocking
from
of
me in my
vegans. He does it
country.
all the
If
time.
I can't
And so
talk
then
to
they
them,
get upset at
I
him,
can't do my
and they
job
can
properly.
target posts and just report
I'm
them in
paraphrasing,
mass. And
but,
when
like,
they do
that's
that, then
the
this
issue.
becomes an issue.
You know,
I think
it's
this
like,
does
if you
reveal
can't talk to
part
your
of
enemy at all, that's a bad
challenges that we face as a global
Like, whether you're suing for peace or
platform
trying
at
to
scale.
win.
In this, I
You
don't
at least
I don't
wanna
know
be
what
able to
happened
talk
in this
to
case, so
negotiate
it's
the
hard for me to
surrender.
talk about it. But what I would say
You
is
know?
that it doesn't really
And
matter
that's
if
one of the biggest issues
one
I have
person
with the
reports
whole
it
free
or
speech
10,000
thing,
people report it. Like, we're
is
going to review
learn
the
the
reports
code,
and we're going to make an
getting banned off
assessment,
Twitter for that.
and we're never
I'm-
going to
I enjoy Twitter. If I
kick
got
someone
banned
off the
Twitter for something
platform
like
finally
that,
and forever without a person taking a look and making sure that it's an actual violation of the
Right.
rules.
Fucked up. You're right.
No, I just realized you've been listening to me and that the whole time.
Yeah, it's fucked up. You're right, but I don't know, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This issue for me personally is a bit distant. I have a Twitter, but I like barely use it. Sorry, Twitter. But I'm on it though. Look me up, Reggie Smokes, man. SMOKEZ. Spell my name right. Anyway, yeah, bro. I wasn't even aware of the whole thing. And yeah, and you know what's crazy? I'd learned or I'd heard learn to code, but I had no idea what it was or what
Where
it
it was
meant.
from.
Yeah. So I just kind of was like,
Yeah.
I'm not a computer guy. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, when I see something like, I've got a couple tools I use that just show the traffic. So I have like one on YouTube. It's called vidIQ. I'll plug it. Everyone, whether you're a content creator or not, like whether you're a content creator, if you have a YouTube channel and you're posting stuff, or even if you're just a fan of watching a lot of YouTube videos, get vidIQ, the free version. It lets you know how many people have seen it, how many times it's been shared. It gives you all the social media metrics for free. And then you can see who's actually been, like, you can see if it's all getting bought likes or not. And that's the thing, is to see where, because whenever I see stuff nowadays, I'm like, who's actually watching this?
True.
You know, there's so much being made, whether it's from like the legacy media, the CNN stuff, or it's made by stuff like this, you and I having a conversation. And I think there like is this, I don't know if it's called a civil war or if it's just a shift of power.
That's
Where
what
it's
I
like
think
going,
it is.
it's like going back to the people. It's like people don't realize that. Not to, I mean, I'm biased because this is what I'm doing, but I think this is the future.
It is.
I think
I agree.
and I'm not saying I need to get up to literally a million fans and followers. No, I'm saying like if I get to like a couple hundred, that'd be sweet. That'd be really cool. Or if I have like 100 people saying like, "Hey, what are you talking about this week?" I don't know. What do you want to talk about? You know, that's the future. Why would you want to just sit and listen to talking points every night from Brian Selter on CNN?
True.
Bald, effeminate white dude.
Bald, effeminate white dude.
Yeah. Not Joe Rogan.
I just looked at him. I was like,
I know.
effeminate white
As soon as I looked left, I'm like, oh, that's what's on screen. It's Joe Rogan. Well, Joe Rogan's got 3 daughters.
Well, yeah. I mean, well,
I give him benefit of that a little bit,
Joe
but
Rogan to beat the fuck out you though.
yeah, he will. But apparently, he's a thumb and only 3 feet tall, according to Owen Benjamin. According to Owen Benjamin,
He's 3 feet.
he's
tall?
only 2 feet tall, and he's a thumb actually. He's so I think we're wrapping this up. Unless you have something else you want to say. Actually, let's check on Eric, see if he said anything. But make sure you give the Rogans up, everybody. Wait, there I'm in the picture now. Rogans up, if you like this.
One last thing I have to say. Shameless plug. So, I'm going to.
Hold up. We got some people. You're going to creep me out, aren't you? The hair sniffing is awful, dude. It is awful. Sorry, Intoxicating Masculinity didn't have the YouTube stream up. So
That shit is live. R. Kelly is live.
wait, what? Guys, turn your TV on now. R. Kelly has died. Holy shit! He just said he killed himself. R.I.P.
That shit can't be true.
No. But we
Look
can
that
find
shit up,
out.
for real. Look that shit up right
I
now,
know.
bro. Look that shit up.
How long?
right
Is there a
now.
timestamp on that chat?
This is
9 hours ago.
I don't know, man. Who said that?
Jared Threaten.
Jared Threaten. I don't know, bro.
Are you providing fake news for us?
For real.
Jared.
You out here perpetrating, dog?
Trying to start shit.
Making me sad, man. Don't say R. Kelly. I mean, R. Kelly was... Jesus Christ, man. R. Kelly was...
He had a really interesting moment.
R. Kelly had a very, very interesting life. Like he.
Well, I'm just talking that interview.
Oh God,
that was a matrix breaker.
That interview was hilarious. It was sad, but it was hilarious, bro. Like
it completely dethroned. It completely dethroned Jordan crying meme.
Oh yeah, I posted that on Instagram. I posted that on Instagram.
Yeah,
dude. It's like he's the new crying emoji.
He is the new crying. If you use Jordan crying, you are using old technology.
Exactly.
You now need to be using
obsolete.
It's obsolete. You need to be using the newest, best R. Kelly meme.
Exactly. And yeah, dude, that interview.
R. Kelly is not dead.
He's alive. It's alive. But yeah, dude, that interview, it was both, I'm not gonna lie, in all seriousness, that interview was both hilarious and also somewhat hurtful for me to watch as a lifelong R. Kelly fan. And it was one fell swoop. It just swooped in and like completely wiped away any trace of legitimacy that he ever had. If he ever even had one to begin with, which I don't think he did. But yeah, it was crazy, man. But I definitely believe he should go to fucking prison. That's just me personally, because he's a weirdo.
Yeah, and he doesn't stop.
Yeah, he's aggressively sexually devious and weird.
He's been caught a couple times at least, right?
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, well,
tapes. Niggas got tapes.
So like, it's what I do. I can't really. Yeah.
He got it's like 30 women. It's like tapes. You feel me? Like
I heard that some of the women are actually cool with him still too.
Yeah, some of them.
It's like not Michael Jackson. He's like a pedophile who like keeps him happy.
Yeah, he had like
keeps him not talking. I don't know.
dude. You know what? This is what I said, and this is my opinion on R. Kelly. Okay. To me, R. Kelly is like a pimp that just went out of control. Cause he got like pimp game, bro. Like, cause that's some pimp shit to have.
Oh yeah,
bro. You got bitches coming to the crib. You flying hoes out, like.
Regardless of what you think of pimping, that is pimping.
That's some pimp shit. You flying hoes out. They coming to the crib. You telling these hoes when they can eat. You feel me? Like when they can sleep. Like
I did hear about that.
Like that's some pimp shit. Like that's he's just a pimp that went out of control. He fucked up where now if he would have been kept above board and it was all consensual, adult to adult shit, run your little dime game, bro. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? And that's y'all adults. Y'all can grown folks. Y'all can do that. Now you fucked up when
you're doing it to people who
are underage. And also if allegedly you are doing it to grown people but against their will. That's where you fucked up.
Yeah.
You feel me? Those
can't do that
areas.
either. Yeah.
So, you know, in light of that, I say that's some weird shit. You should probably go to prison.
Have you heard of Leonardo DiCaprio?
Have I heard of him? Of course.
Have you heard of his taste in women?
Oh.
He's got this weird thing. It's not that bad. I think it's like he doesn't date women after 26 or 27 or something like that. I just looked this up the other day. Someone pull it up or something. I don't know. I just looked into it.
My God, bro. You know what? You just saying that has sparked a whole nother like topic in my mind. I need to come back on the show because seriously, and I think you're the man to discuss this with.
Yeah,
because I've been watching a lot of shit on like red pill shit, MGTOW shit.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've done streams on that already.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want, we could do a Google Hangouts. Have my boy Sean on.
Sean.
Yeah.
What's Sean's deal, man?
Sean is a American patriot.
Okay.
He is I mean, he's one of the reasons I started doing this show in the first place. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I mean, we do bread and games together. He's on the same wavelength I'm on with a lot of this.
Okay. He's inspirational.
Calling out pedos, man. That's
you gotta do it. It has to be done.
It's good, and that's the thing is it goes across all cultures, goes across everything. It's like that's something everyone can agree on. Let's just not mess with kids.
That's weird, dude. You know what? To me, I don't want. And this is an interesting thing.
And everyone's been a kid. I just want to say that it's like that's something we can all agree we've been there.
But on that note, to tie the subjects together, one thing that I've heard and that I've said to people and that I totally agree with about R. Kelly in particular is that people can say, well, how can he fuck with your underage girls and what kind of man would do some shit like that? But when you connect that to the fun fact of also knowing that this man was essentially illiterate. He basically couldn't read. Did you know
R.
that?
Kelly?
Yeah, he's illiterate. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
He's illiterate.
I can see that.
He cannot read. Like, that's why he signed away the rights to his music. He does not own any of his music.
To who?
To Sony or whoever the fuck he was signed to, I guess. I don't know. He don't own the rights to his music. The man damn near broke. That's why he having a lot of money issues. So that's why he's really pushing for this Dubai thing or somewhere in the Middle East to go on tour, because if he's not touring, he's not generating revenue. So he's like, yo, y'all need to let me tour. But they're like, nah, nigga, you a fucking pedophile. Like, you need to stand trial, motherfucker. Like, you crazy. And bro, it got so bad that the Dubai, I think it was like some government officials in some Middle Eastern country denied even like that they would even have him. They was like, nah, we never even scheduled you.
Like on tour?
Like, yeah, like they was like, well, you wasn't even supposed to come here. Like, nah, like
what?
Yeah, bro, I read that. It was like a headline. It was crazy. They don't even want to fuck with him. They're like, nah, bro, stay your ass over there.
I'm trying to see who owns the rights to his stuff here. Labels: Jocelyn Jive RCA. Those are the 3 labels he's been under. Do you know which one of the like?
I don't know the specifics, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the thing is like when I don't know about something, I get into specifics so I can bounce it back to like what I hear.
Yeah, that's the way you should do it. I'm just lazy. I just heard about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that makes sense because he was saying that. Because R. Kelly has been saying that. Like, that's been his claims. Because he also has been brought up on, like, child support charges as well. So his whole thing is, like, I'm broke. I don't have the money. Like, y'all can't, like, bankruptcy.
Yeah, how many
like,
kids
yo,
does he have?
You know what I'm saying?
I'm curious. Children 3. Here it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, he got more than one. That's all I know.
Spouse, Aaliyah.
Dude, they say he married Aaliyah when she was, like, 15, bro. That's facts. Like, that's facts, bro. Like,
I've heard of her, too.
Oh, dude, Aaliyah is a legend.
Yeah. She's
a legend.
She died? 22?
Oh, yeah. Aaliyah's a legend, bro. That's why she a legend, bro. She died, like, back in the day, plane crash, bro.
That's the thing is, here's...
She's like the Selena of black people.
I'm going to say one of the whitest things as a Hispanic white person I've ever said. Uh-huh. Well, not ever said.
Fire away.
We've heard of it. I feel bad because there's a guy at work, David, and he's been making these name drops to, like, movies and TV shows and stuff. And I can only say... every other time that I've never seen it before. But there's a thing. It's just like literally a cultural disconnect. He's like, you see the movie? He's like, you see the movie Belly? Like, who's in it? He's like, Nas and DMX. I'm like, when did it come out? Sorry, I was still white then. Like, that's what I want to say.
Bro, that's how it is though. That's
but
how
you know, it's like
because
when,
I've
as a child, you grow up only black.
Yeah.
Right?
We watch it.
And then when you get older, you're like, oh, I'm going to wade into other waters.
See now, bro.
Some people never do.
Yeah, some people never do. I know a lot of people
never
like that.
do.
Dude, I am... I'm looking at the camera when I say this.
Yeah.
I am... My name is Reggie, y'all, in case you didn't know. I met this man doing a program called Victory Lap. That's a different story. But I'm born and raised from Chicago. I'm from the south side of the city. I'm born and raised in what they call the hood, what we call the hood. You feel me? Inner city, more rough neighborhood area, basically. So I know people that make fun of me and call me like damn near white, or say I'm white-ish or have white qualities because I listen to certain things or watch certain things, or you feel me, do certain things that most black people don't do.
Right.
You feel me? Or majority of black people where I'm from don't do.
I mean, there's a couple terms.
So I understand.
Like,
it's a cultural disconnect.
Coon, Uncle Tom. Yeah.
I ain't never got called. I
don't know. I'm just. I'm more saying that because that's all I know. Is there something else that said that like? No, I'm asking because I'm genuinely curious.
No, I mean I would no. I never got anything that bad. I just got a lot of questions. That's all.
That's
people
fair.
Just question me. Like my whole life, people would question me. Like I went to elementary school 4 blocks from my house. My people were like, "Where you from?" I'd be like, "Bro, I live 4 blocks that way." They'd be like, "Nah, bro, you kind of sound like you from the suburbs or something." I'm like, "Nah, bro, I live 4 blocks that way." You feel me? But because the way I carry myself and the way I am as a person, as an individual,
right?
You feel me? But you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm still from there, so it's like I still know. You feel me? That's my people.
You get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Is what it comes
so
down
I'm
to.
still culturally in tune to what people are listening to, what we watching. Because I grew up watching and listening to the same shit. It's just that as I got older, I branched out and started doing other shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And then you can come back.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a lot of people don't do that.
There. Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't do that.
Well, that's true. Some people go on something new and never come back.
Yeah. Exactly. Some people go on something new and never come back to our shit that we grew up with. Some people try and don't like it and just stay with.
Right.
You feel me? Which is the majority.
But to have the people like you that do both.
Yeah.
It's like dual citizenship.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's in a weird way.
But it's still, but it's kind of weird because it's like a kind of a strange cultural space because, like you said, there's still disconnect. So it's like there's still. I dabble in the shit, like you know what I'm saying. Like I don't watch Friends, like I don't watch, like no disrespect.
God, I can't.
Like
no, I can't watch Friends.
Yeah, like
or Office.
Like exactly, like I've never like seen Friends or like The Office. Like I've seen like stray shit, but just shit like that are like amongst white
I
people.
wanted to ask you because we're
What's
both
up?
Star Wars friends,
Uh-huh.
and I'm curious: is there a racial component? Have you ever been?
Definitely.
But I mean, have you ever been dogged for
Definitely.
liking Star Wars?
Definitely.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I've been dogged not for liking it, but for being like a fan. Like I'm like a fan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're
You know
both
what I'm
fans.
saying? You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you there.
And I've been a fan for years, and people have noticed. So it's like they know I got books, I got comics, I got my actual like
And
saber. And
they
shit.
give you shit for that? I mean, to me, there's like giving shit for people for being a nerd, but until now, I didn't really consider it's like, did they give you shit for being a nerd of something where Luke Skywalker and the funny thing, James Earl Jones, Darth Vader, voiced by a black man, but it's Anakin.
Most
The
people
only thing they really did is they have Mace Windu, which was dope, but it's all about a white family.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things we're having now is it's like, and I think we talked about this before, or maybe with someone else, is that when you watch something, like I have no problem watching like a story and it's like woman. I'm like, I'm not a woman, but I can still enjoy the story. And there's an issue now, it's like, well, we need black characters, or we need Hispanic, Japanese, whatever characters around everywhere. I'm like, as long as it makes sense in the story, don't be giving me,
don't force it.
Yeah, don't give me a black guy in a white platoon, like an Italian platoon from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Just because you want a more diverse cast.
Yeah, it has to make sense.
It has to make sense. Yeah. And the whole point I brought up is like, do you feel that like you get anything less from Star Wars because Luke is white?
No.
Like Mark Hamill.
Well, no.
Okay, that's what I thought. I like built it up for too long, but
yeah, no, but that's why I'm so heavily invested, because I don't feel like there's any.
That's
difference,
it.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Right.
see it as universal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's- And also just because the sci-fi setting helps it
does.
distances it from like our world, where it's like
in a
it's not even about
galaxy
color,
far,
it's
far
about,
away.
Like, are you even human? Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's the, so.
I think that's the beautiful thing for everyone is the sci-fi community in general is normally at least liberal, not left, but liberal. That like they go into new ideas and they think things more open-mindedly, and it's an amazing thing. I'm sure that's probably one of the things that got you going, because there's probably other things that you like sci-fi besides Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a huge Mass Effect fan.
Mass
I've
Effect.
played every single one.
I didn't get into Andromeda. I heard that was bad, but
it wasn't good, but I played it anyway. You know what I'm saying? I played it anyway, and the gameplay was amazing, but the story was trash. But anyway, that's a different story. But
yeah, Mass Effect's another. The guy who did Mass Effect is actually the guy who wrote my favorite book series, the Darth Bane. Drew Carpathian.
Dude, I can never pronounce his name.
That's how I just say it, man.
Okay, so it's just like you just take a crack at it and just
I
find
just
your own
say
way.
it's Drew Carpathian. It's Carpathian. I just say Carpathian because it sounds like Carpathian.
Carpathian.
It's mountains in.
That sounds pretty dope.
In northern Balkan area, I don't know. It's up there somewhere on the map.
But yeah, dude. But no, the way I feel about it is essentially the same way you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you want to tell a story, cool. But it's like, well, it's all about context. You know what I'm saying? That's just all about context. It just has to make sense for the story.
That's it. And my issue,
unless it's just
my
like
issue with the
fantasy.
policy here is they're destroying art for the sake of politics.
Dude, I so agree. I hate Disney because that's a personal vendetta. But I just hate that. Yeah, I think you're right. That is one aspect of it, like the kind of shoehorning in of like unnecessarily
seeing
like,
a brother out of place. That sounds.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I actually really like a lot of what Jordan Peele has done, like with Get Out. I thought he did a great job explaining. I not to go right for. I feel like I go for the jugular every time I ask you a question. But it's like why would I softball with anything else?
Around, bro.
But I thought he did a good job of making me feel it's like being the only black guy at a party. I think that's one of the things he was going for. I think he mentioned in an interview that he wanted people to
kind
feel
of like a role reversal of.
Yeah, that it's like this is what it looks like. And obviously, I don't want to talk more about the movie. But did you think that was like a good depiction? Have you seen it? First off,
I've seen it.
I assumed you
like
had
3 times.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was a great movie.
Get Out was amazing. But yeah, bro. Honestly, I can honestly say that the Get Out, the movie, it spoke to me personally because I've had that experience.
Yeah, I'm
personally,
sure.
Being like the only black person in the place, and it was weird. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? It feels weird. You feel like people are like everybody's looking at you. You feel me? And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's very.
Well,
weird.
that's how I feel sometimes being a person out of Chicago.
Really?
That
What
just
you mean by that?
yeah. Well, not like
You mean being a person in the city or outside of the city?
living in the city, being around a bunch of Chicagoans.
Okay.
That they're like
because you're not from here, right?
Yeah, they're on like one wavelength,
Yeah.
wavelength, and I'm like on a different one. Not that they're like all against me or anything.
Yeah.
But it's just like
It's just a different vibe.
yeah, and that's kind of it's probably not apples to apples, but
It's comparable.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because dude, I can tell you, I've had like, and this is primarily like college for me, because the college I went to was pretty much majority like white institution. You know,
right,
whatever.
right.
And I've been in rooms to where people are talking about spring break or summer break. Hey, about to fire up that yacht. You know what I'm saying? Go to, take that trip to Greece. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going back to the South Side. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, and it's rough. It's difficult. It's awkward, but
Different.
But it's something that I've kind of just grown used to. And honestly, at this point in my life, I kind of have fun with it. Like,
That's
I
it.
kind of like it because it's like, I don't know, but that's just me.
Just gotta own it.
Yeah, I do.
That's
I
it.
love, dude. I take it as the opportunity to like inform. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just use it as that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you're right. It's that cultural disconnect, and especially in Chicago, because Chicago itself as a city is so segregated. Like,
I've noticed that.
yeah, bro. It's Chicago is the worst. Like of the major cities, New York, everybody's together. Everybody's living on top of everybody. LA, I've been there. Everybody's together. It's only in New York where it's like South and West Side is black folks, North Side you feel me, downtown.
Yeah, and then you got Staten Island. Yeah.
So yeah, and so yeah, man.
Staten Island?
No, that's New York.
Long Island.
Talking about Blue Island.
What? Long Island? Is it Long Island where all the fancy houses are?
I guess so. I wouldn't know about no areas called no Long Island because I don't be going around there.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, that's my knowledge, honestly. Okay, it's funny because you mentioned the shows The Office and or I mentioned The Office. You mentioned
those
Friends.
are like the two most commonly like.
But
mentioned.
I watched the show Seinfeld, and that's my knowledge of New York. Is they would go out to the Long Island, like people would have fancy houses there, and they're the people who live in the city, and they'd be like, "Oh, we're going, yeah," and they go out to these fancy houses, and they're always just like, "Man, these people,
rich bastards."
That's what they do.
Like...
So that's why I thought Long Island would be that same place. But
we have our Long Islands of Chicago that are essentially the same thing. And
Evanston.
That's one of
Been
them.
there.
You know
that's why
saying?
they built the temple up there.
That's one of them.
You don't see that at 95th.
Yeah, man.
I've been to 95th.
Exactly. So, not yet, dude. Yeah, man. And I think that Jordan Peele was, to get back to it, I think Jordan Peele, he did an excellent job of kind of like giving people that experience and kind of like showcasing that and being like just.
And he didn't browbeat it.
Exactly.
Here's the thing
he
that
just
killed
showed
me
it and was like, just look at it.
There's a lot of guys I know back home that just the narrative of just they saw the trailer, probably didn't see the movie. They're just like, oh, it's one of those movies. I'm like, okay, well, I thought that at first too, and I watched it, and the first time I was like, it's not really like that. Watched it again, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually really good. Third time I watched it, I was like, this is actually a really good movie. Like, just as a suspense movie, as soon as, like, the first two times I watched it, the first time was completely racial, to be honest. Oh, yeah. Second time I was like, okay, let's look at it as a movie. Third time I was like, that's just a good movie.
Yeah, dude, it's one of those films that you have to watch multiple times to, like, get every detail.
Well, I think it's just because he's so overtly talking about race, while the movie has nothing to do with it. It's literally just bad people.
Exactly.
I mean, they could have been a black family. But it's just more creepy because there was that racial tension. And I think here's one thing, while we're still talking about Get Out, is I think it's funny that they were liberal.
I was just thinking that actually before you said it.
Family. It's one thing I haven't heard many people talk about.
That's brilliant. I've experienced that firsthand as well. Where it's like a lot of shit where it's like unintentional, kind of like ignorant racism. Well, they just don't know.
And there's a lot of, no offense, red pill black guys who, they're in the South. And they like are on Instagram, on social media. They're like, look at all these rednecks. They're so racist. They're like, wow, and they're all having a good time. It's like this idea that rednecks are some of the most racist motherfuckers you're gonna meet is bullshit. Most of the guys I know in the country, as long as you're not making them feel awkward, like bumping some really, whatever they would deem
inappropriate,
right? And as long as you're not stepping on their toes. And then, especially if you can find a way to there's like music you can both put on. You put that on, they will party with you all night.
But I think that's the trick, though. When you say like, as long as you're not stepping on your toes, I think the trick lies.
Everyone's trying to step on each other's toes.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess you can say that, but I think the trick in that lies in how you define stepping on someone's toe.
That's true.
You feel me? Because that's often the problem with different groups, right? Is that one defines it as one thing.
Well, that's the problem within your own group
and
too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a problem for anybody.
Interracially and interracially.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's an issue all around.
It gets worse when it's interracial because you don't even notice sometimes.
Exactly.
When it's just completely oblivious. Yeah. You know.
So I think for me personally, I would say that's the biggest
hurdle.
Exactly, hurdle and cause of disagreements in all areas of life is people's definitions of things. It's just like, what does loyalty mean to you versus me?
Right.
Or like, what does love mean to you versus me? Or
well,
what is...
I'll say one of the best shows that ever bridged that gap, Boondocks.
Oh God, I love the Boondocks, bro. It's classic. Aaron McGruber.
Great show. And the thing is, they went right for the jugular all the time.
It's so fun.
All the time. They have an episode about, like you talked about snitching earlier. They have an episode, and the thing is, they made fun of white people so bad. Like, they made fun of both of them because they got, like, the white people. Hello, officer. Yes. Oh, this is the person right down the street. There they are. Yeah. And, like, you get to the Freeman house. No snitching.
For real.
Close the door.
I'm not talking to police.
I'm talking to police. Get out.
Man, dude, yes. I think, yeah, it's classic. But I think that's what's required, though, bro.
Yeah.
We have to have, like, an honest, straightforward dialogue. I think too many people pussyfoot around and shit and try to be like, well, you know, blah, blah. It's like, nah, bro, just say how you feel. And if we have a disagreement, good. The sooner it gets exposed, the sooner the shit can be dealt with. And back to your point about it being liberal white people as opposed to just openly racist people, that's the problem. Yeah. Is that you have a lot of people that claim to be one thing, but and they don't claim it out of intentional dishonesty. They don't say like, I'm really racist, but I'm going to pretend to be liberal. They just are. They believe themselves to really be good people. They believe themselves to really be liberal people. They think they're progressive. They think But then when they come across someone who can compare their actual life experience to their just thoughts in their head.
Well, you brought up a concept. You brought up a concept that really highlights it earlier. You're talking about virtue signaling like soy boys. These are the guys that will stick up for you being oppressed when you don't even feel oppressed. You know what I mean? They'll be like, hold up. Yeah. Mike, get away from him.
Exactly.
You just said nigga.
It's like you're doing too much.
Right,
too much.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, yeah, because he's my boy. That's why.
The whole point of trying to fight like things like white supremacy and sexism and things like that is so that those people who are suffering from those things can speak for themselves. You feel me? And you feel me? And have their own agency and independence and do for themselves. You feel me? So and being an ally a lot of times means not saying anything. You feel me? It's just standing back and be like,
being there.
This is their
being there,
and just be a silent support. Like, just listen to them. This is their problem. I'm standing behind them. Listen to their experience. And
sharing platforms, I think, is huge.
Exactly, and then giving us a platform to do that.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Because just look, we'll probably wrap up. We already said we were wrapping up like twice. For real. But we'll do another show. I see you yawn already. But is most of the people that are probably watching as of now, until you get a chance to share on your social media,
for sure, are just people from semi-rural Cleveland, Ohio, and some people I know from across the country. But most of them grew up white, man. So just this is an experience. You know, you talk about cross-cultural dialogue. You're representing to people that normally you wouldn't have a chance to reach, and vice versa for me too. Is like we brought up multiple scenarios. Boondocks. This is it. This right here too is cross-cultural dialogue. I don't want to hype my platform up too much, but I think it's amazing that you and I have a chance to talk. And like there is the racial component. You're a black guy. I'm a white Hispanic guy, but that isn't the reason why I want to hang out with you. The moment I knew you were a Star Wars fan, you had your Star Wars book, that's when I was like, I want to talk to Reggie. And then everything else just fell into place. And so now it's like, well, now that we already talked about some cool stuff, it's like, let's talk about the deep stuff, because might as well have people see that it's possible. It's there. Definitely. That, you know, you watch the news and you assume that every guy, you know, wearing all black in Chicago is someone to stay away from dangerous. And, you know, when you have a long-winded conversation, you realize it's like, why did I even think that in the first place? You know, people, fathers, mothers, family. Yeah. And dude, speak to that point, I listen to NPR a lot.
Just virtue signal
on the radio. Yeah, man, that's just a lot of that shit. But I listen to NPR sometimes on the radio, and when I be bored at work and shit. And I was listening the other day, and they had on a thing about the Democratic Party and there was them basically about them reaching out to middle Americans, basically Americans that are the farmers, the Americans that are occupying these states where they get passed over politically because they don't
flyover
have
states is
exactly
what they call them,
exactly. So they had this one guy, I forget what state he was from, but he was from like one of those states in the middle, and he was just talking about how the Democratic Party does have to do a better job of addressing like us too, like you know what I'm saying. We have
well, they want to abolish the electoral college. Is one of the things they're pushing for, and that is the biggest middle finger to those small flyover states.
Exactly. So, and I think we need to do that as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, because obviously I'm a black person. I'm aware of our issues. I study them because they affect me and a lot of people I know. But you also have to know other perspectives as well.
Yes.
And the other perspectives for a lot of those people in those middle states is they do feel ignored. They do feel like nobody's addressing their interests. They do feel like ain't nobody taking what they feel like is important seriously.
Well, I think one of the big things is like they got all these things going on, these federal laws about homosexual marriage. Well, I'm sure a lot of these flyover states, at least me growing up, is like don't see gay people very often. It's like, why are you changing my federal laws about the way I interact with my neighbors if none of my neighbors are even of this demographic? It's like, I'll tell you, I knew gay people in Cleveland, but honestly, man, it was very rare occurrence. Not to say that most people are actually pretty cool about it. I just want to bring up another demographic because it's the federal government's trying to solve issues across the board. And like these flyover states, they're most of them, they're defensive. They're like, why are you changing shit that doesn't affect me because of shit's going on in the city or shit's going on here? Or like this more progressive state. And I think what you'll find a lot of the red pill side of things is the red pill is just personal accountability. Is I don't want the big group to solve my problem. I'm going to solve it on my own. And that's one of the funniest jokes about the red pill libertarians, these people, is they'll make memes about how it'd be like libertarians versus Democrats. And it's like a battle, one, and then it's like libertarians versus Republicans. It's just like a little battle, and then it's like libertarians versus other libertarians, and then it's like this giant like war, because the closer you are in ideology to people, the more you're actually exchanging a more similar experience. That like when you're talking to somebody who's not thinking the same way you are, you're going to disagree on everything, but when you do agree on a lot of things and then you find a disagreement, that's when it gets, it gets a lot more real. And that's why I like it, is I've had people say things that really like offended me. And I was like, shoot, why does that offend me? Is it because, first off, I'm like, is it because I lose something? Or is it because someone told me I would lose something? And that happens all the time. It's like, that doesn't mean shit to me, I don't know. I feel like I just went on a rant. I'm gonna take a step back. Does that make any sense to you? It's just the idea of separating that, because these small states, they don't want to be a part of the big conversation. They want to be more red, as the way you see the electoral college map.
You say they don't want to be a part of the conversation. What you mean, like
they want to handle it more on their own. Handle it in the county, handle it in the state. Small federal laws.
I got you.
The whole idea of federal tax. Because at the end of the day, whenever you're talking about law, you're also talking about tax. And they look at, I'm generalizing. That's why I'm taking a step back. Because whenever you start generalizing, you start making yourself look bad. But in general, most of the people on the red side of things, the right side, and that's why you have the neoconservatives, like the Ben Shapiros and these Sean Hannitys, it's like controlled opposition sometimes. Like people who are so out there, it's like, do you even believe this? Or are you just, It's like when Rachel Maddow crying over Jussie Smollet. Did you see that? Dude. Do you want to? She cried, and I'm just like,
who is that?
Rachel Maddow, the lead for MSNBC. She's like one of the top 5 anchors on the left.
What's she crying for?
Because... Or no,
because people didn't believe him or some shit?
Because, what'd she cry about? I don't know. Smollett, Rachel Maddow. I don't even remember. Cry.
That lady?
Yeah.
See, I don't be knowing these people's names, man.
Well,
I gotta learn it. I gotta get better at that.
I don't watch her, but I watch her when she does stuff like this. Yeah. She cried over this and the Mueller report.
So she was like, "Oh, this is a shame that this happened."
It's at the end of the day, it ends up being like, I can't believe that everything I've been pushing on you for so long, it's just not real.
Dude, you know what? We have to like. As I've gotten older, I've been moving slowly more towards the center.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And that's it.
Politically and ideologically, I'm still like mid left. You feel me? But I used to be like all the way.
That's what I end up being.
But yeah, I think everything has just become so polarized now.
That's
like,
it.
It's just everything is so polarized
now. People look at it as directional. It's like if you're any bit right of me, you're that bit right of me. Or if you're any bit left of me, you're that bit left of me.
Yeah, there has been a lot of there has been a lot of Sith activity because people have been dealing in absolutes.
Absolutes. I say that all the time.
A lot lately, and that is very irritating sometimes. But
I tell people like because people be like, "Oh, you said that." I'm like, "Only Sith speak in absolutes." I'm not sure.
I pulled that on my sister a couple times.
She was totally it's a good line though.
Yeah,
it's like a joke, but it's real too.
She couldn't appreciate it. But
no,
anyway, but it was wasted on her. Love you, sis. Anyway, but yeah, man, everything is very polarizing these days, and it's kind of made me like. It's kind of pushed me more to the center because, take for instance, BuzzFeed. We watched that little thing with the fucking NPCs at BuzzFeed.
Yep.
My BuzzFeed viewership, as I've gotten older, has just declined more and more.
I used to subscribe to BuzzFeed, man.
I'm still.
I used to share their stuff.
I'm not gonna lie, but I only watch certain things. I watch things that are like neutral, like where it's like this is about food or like this is about alcohol. Or, like,
can't even watch it anymore.
The personal stories or like
you're
like
one
that.
documentary away from never watching it again.
I don't know. I don't think I would say that because I still want to keep that line open. Just like I
get you. I'm joking when I say that.
Yeah, just like I will like listen to like I've looked up like Rush Limbaugh shit just to see like what they saying. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I do that, and that way, for me that's necessary because if I get both perspectives and I can see both spins.
You can see the reflection.
Exactly.
You can see the whole image.
I can kind of like infer from both of those like how I really feel about it. Like
that's what it's all about.
All right, from judging from what both of y'all saying, I think this. You feel me?
Yeah.
Whether I agree with one or the other, or I make up my own totally new opinion that's mine, or somewhere in the middle. But whatever, I have to have both. But that's why I do like. There are a couple outlets still. Like I think, in my opinion, anyway, the BBC. I guess
the BBC.
No.
It used to be historically.
Okay.
The problem with the BBC, and I'm sorry you said that, but
I'm sorry.
You talking to me about what did you say earlier, Dr. Seve?
Yeah.
UK in the last 2 years has gone to shit.
Yeah, with the Brexit thing, and it's getting crazy
Muslim
politically over there
gangs.
as well. Yeah.
They've literally lost their culture, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think of white people, any leftist people, they deserve to have where they started to colonize, and they're losing that culturally. And I don't want to sound like a white apologist or whatever it sounds like, but it's true. People deserve the nation they were founded from, and the English people. Did you hear that the state schools are becoming so left oriented that they were teaching homosexuality to children?
In England?
In England. I believe this happened in London. I could pull it up, but I'm not going to bother. But here's the issue: is that the white English people are so weak that they didn't say anything. It was the fact that the Muslim community had grown so strong there that, like, I think the story I saw is like 200 Muslim families showed up to protest, and they got it taken out of the curriculum. But it was not one white English family showed up. It was literally the entire Muslim community did it. And it's interesting that it's this Islam is the one pushing back against the leftist agenda. I would say
because they're super conservative.
Yeah. Well, they're very conservative, and it's not really talked about very often. People talk about Islam being like an ally of the left.
Extremists.
You're literally like playing with fire.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of. Let's not get into Islam.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms.
That's a whole can of worms. I almost.
You
saw me. I was like sitting at the top of my seat. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna be talking Islam.
But yeah, bro, I think we're at a very interesting time in like the history of the world at large. I think culturally, Because I think there's like this very open kind of like ideological warfare that's going on with like.
It's never been a better time to talk about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we have the platforms like now, but I think there's like this very open ideological warfare where it's like, as societies, we're trying to decide who we want to be, like collectively. We're trying to decide, like we're wrestling with.
Well, when you think about it this way, and a lot of psychologists get into this, it's like life, the majority of times, figuring out who you are. Like when you look at like Rumi, Osho, all these like, it's discover yourself through action. Go associate yourself with the world. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna find things that you don't like. You're gonna find things that you need to do but you don't like.
Of course.
But through the course of doing these things, you will find who you are and what you like, and that's the point of life.
Of course. Yeah.
And so, why did I just bring that up? I completely lost my connection. We're finding what we like to do more of what we like.
Trying to decide who we want to be.
Who we want to be. So as a society, our likes, our interests are being guided more by corporate interest.
Oh yeah, of course.
What we buy, what we like to do. Like, as I've been red-pilled myself, I've cut out so many things that I used to do. I don't play video games almost at all anymore. I used to play games all the time. And the thing is, it's not even like I don't have a problem with gaming. I was a gamer. So it's not like I'm this person where it's like I've left gaming and I'm like, fuck gaming, it ruined my life. No. It's like that was a chapter of my life. And I think there's so many people that it's like when you stop doing something, you have to demonize it to be able to like, you know, that to be able to like have balance with things that you used to do. And that's what society we're having issues with, is you're having these people forming all these tribes and there's no, you know, cross-cultural dialogue, for lack of a better way to call it, whether it's, you know, through a racial barrier, through it's an interest barrier, through it's an age barrier, gender. And that's what a lot of these leftist people talk about. And it's actually a conversation I want to have as a person who's leaning more right now, that there is a conversation when people are saying, the thing on the right is the right says there's not a point where words become hate speech. They say that there's no such thing as hate speech. It never happens. There's not one thing I can say to you that would ever be considered, it'd be okay for you to harm me. How about that? You know what I mean? That's the point they make. And the left says, oh my God, if you call me Reginald and not Reggie, that's an offense that you can call the police on. You know what I mean? That they want to make it this very small Orwellian box. I'm saying the worst. The worst on the right would be like, I should be able to say I want to eat your children who have, you know what I mean? Some grotesque things. It's like, why do you even go there? And it's like, why do you even want to be this like distilled, sterile, you know?
Well, I think,
and we got to find where that middle ground is.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot that goes into that. I think there's like a history piece, there's a cultural piece, there's an emotional piece, there's a psychological piece, because and the racial piece, because I think, and that's the thing that's blowing up right now, and also gender as well. Mm-hmm. But focusing on race at this very second,
that's what we talked about.
I would say that we, like, as societies, basically once again deciding who we want to be, we're coming to grips we're like at this intersection of like history, of culture, because the history of our like countries, the Western countries, is like coming into so much scrutiny now. Because
this is one thing I stopped doing, because it's a war of words, and one of the things people always say Western, but at the end of the day, and I've been looking into this, and I'm not completely Christian. We've talked about a little religion, you and I, but the Western culture is Christian culture. Whether you like it or not, it's Christian. So I stopped saying Western. Okay. And I stopped saying Judeo-Christian. I just say Christian now. And I just want to bring that up to you. I want to make this big thing about it. But would you agree with that? I think Western it's a cop-out. It's a substitute word for saying Christian, because people don't want to have that conversation.
Okay, one and the same. But
okay, sorry.
Either way, that's basically what it is. But so I think the history and the backgrounds of these cultures have come under like intense scrutiny, mainly because I believe the population of people of color in these countries are rising, like you said, whether it's through immigration or just fucking, you feel me? Like, native black people just in America, we fuck.
There's the simple idea that the less money you make, the more it's healthful to have more kids.
It is.
Whether the state is helping you through welfare, or just to have kids to do work to help
Exactly.
you do things.
Exactly. And plus, it's just more playing the odds of like one of y'all little motherfuckers gonna be successful. If I have 12 of you niggas, one
That's
of
the
you gotta
other
get
thing.
rich. You feel me?
But like for rich people, they have less kids because,
it's
like, well,
we know what we're doing. We only need like 2 of them. We're just gonna pass this down and it's fine. You know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
But
that's the phenomenon.
right. So now all of our culture, all of our past like history is under so much scrutiny because the population of people of color in these countries are rising. It's just like that stat of like, oh, by 2050 the country will be like over 50% people of color or whatever the stat was. I don't remember.
Latinos are gonna take over.
Exactly, because y'all are fucking repopulating up a storm and we're
rabbits.
Exactly. So it's just gonna keep going. So now we're looking at all this history and all these traditional ideas about culture and about race and about gender that we've had for these past like couple hundred years or hundreds of years or whatever up to this point, and we're saying like, okay, we have this set of like cultural ideas about what it means to be black or what it means to be a woman or what it means to be whatever. So it's like, okay, some people, and that's where you get like the political things. It's just people looking at this set of ideas and having a reaction. Some people look at this set of cultural ideas and say it's fine, don't change it. You feel me? Some people look at it and say no, we really need to change it.
Right.
And depending on and who says what usually depends on what race or what gender or where they from, or you feel me. So it's just kind of like. And so that's kind of how the whole thing gets started. And depending on your opinion, when you look at that set of ideas of whether it needs to be changed or how much or a little bit or whatever, that's where you line on the scale. And then that's where you then ideologically do battle with the other guy. Like, oh, you don't think it needs to be changed? Fuck you. Da, 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 da. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think the biggest way is all that's reflected through society. Because like you said, all white people are struggling with their internal battles. All black people are struggling. All mixed people, everybody's they're dealing with their own internal battles, and they go through life by spending money. That's how they say, "This is what I like. This is what I want to do more of." And what I find is that there's places where that aligns, and for some reason, those are the places where we're finding the most issues, like the NFL. People like, I'm just saying that's one example.
Yeah.
But it's like, why do we have this kneeling issue when everybody just likes football? It's like you go to a football game, if you're wearing Bears and they're wearing Bears, and there's no racial component. I think actually one of the most homogenous stuff is like sporting events and stuff like that. So why are we throwing this political angle on something that can be one of the best uniters? You know
what's interesting to me when people say that?
What's that?
Is
it not how it's happened?
What do you mean?
Because in Cleveland, I just realized I'm like in Cleveland we're cool. I don't know.
Well,
I just realized I'm like within my own head.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. To keep it 1,000 with you.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's difficult for me as like a black person when I hear like white people sometimes speak things like that, where it's like, why does things have to be political? Why does things have to be this, or why does things have to be that?
Oh yeah.
A lot of us kind of look at that and go like, well, it doesn't have to be for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to. It's fine for you. Like,
I'm fine. I'll put it this way. I was fine with the Kaepernick protest and kneeling. I'm cool with it. The thing is, it's like, why do we make a big stink out of it? Why does everyone need to like? At the end of the day, it's like, do your kneeling thing. But my issue isn't with the kneeling. My issue is with the inflammation.
Yeah.
My
like
issue isn't with the injury. Yeah, my issue isn't with the injury. Injury's fine. Honestly, I think it needed to happen. So we need to start that conversation. If it wasn't Kaepernick, someone would have done it in baseball. Someone would have done, it would have happened. But my issue is like, why does everyone be like, no, they can't? And why do you? I won't watch the NFL. I won't.
Well, I think that. Well, yeah, because you have your people on both camps that say they won't watch it for whatever.
Well, right.
You have the people on the right who say, well, I won't watch it because he needs to protest on his own time. They pay him to do a job. He's there to do a job. Stick to your job, which is right, which is an angle. And then you have the people on the left that say, I won't watch it because he needs to be allowed to kneel. And who are they to tell him he can't do this? And they blackballing him and this, that, and the third. So it's like,
they did blackball him though.
They
at the end of the day, I think the right, whatever the people who don't want the kneeling to happen need to concede.
Definitely.
Or needed to. It's kind of over now.
Yes.
But it's like they needed to concede sooner because it's like, why didn't someone just hire him? He was a good quarterback at the time. And the thing is, like, I looked at the rosters back then. It's like, there are teams that could have used him at least as a backup.
Definitely.
Just give him a job. And it's like, if something so innocuous was going to make you draw a line in the sand, either you think we're at war too soon, or I don't know, man. It's like
that's an interesting thing, because when you look at the people, the owners, or whether it's the team, people that run the teams, you know, people that run the league, when you ask like, well, why didn't somebody just give him a job, right? Like, why didn't somebody just give him a job? You think it's just a no-brainer, but when you ask that question, I think therein lies the seed of some of our problems, because I imagine if you went to those people and asked them, why didn't you give Kaepernick a job?
It's probably political.
Exactly. The response will probably be, you know, ranging a wide range, but something along the lines of, I can imagine being like, well, basically he was like politically hot. We didn't really want to touch him. You know what I'm saying? We knew that if he was to come to our team, people would form opinions.
So who's to blame here? You know, it's like, who started the fight?
That's the question. But
it's like the owners are just making a smart business move. Mm-hmm. You know, let's say Kaepernick has to make this social display. Mm-hmm. It has to happen because it is an injustice. Mm-hmm. So where's the ground going to give is who is the person who really was like, this is an issue and we can't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And I say the media is to blame. They make things, this is something that a rabbit hole I could go down for a while, but there's a lot of people who've documented on this, and that's why it would take a while. Mm-hmm. And they said that the news used to be, in my parents and your parents' generation, it was just they reported the news. They told you what happened.
The facts.
Well, they just told you what happened. Yeah, the facts. They told you what, where, when, how.
It's facts.
Not why. Why was never a question. Mm-hmm. You know, if your 2-year-old's asking you why, what do? You know? You're not answer the question why.
You just give them some bullshit.
You give them the answer. You say, this is what, you know, and they're getting too much into the why. Mm-hmm. That's not their job. And the thing is, people want the why. You know why? Because it resolves the problem. Mm. The news used to be, I'll tell you everything that happened, and you'll solve it on your own. Mm. People don't want to do that anymore. They streamlined it. They provided the news where it's like, here's what happened, here's how you should think about it, and that's the NPC thing.
Commodified ideologies, basically, and giving them to you in these nice, slick little packages of Fox News and CNN with these nice, neat little classifications of like, you already know what you're getting. You know the perspective.
Your peas stay over here, your corn stays over here, your meat stays here, and here's your mashed potatoes. There it is. And they're not supposed to cross, even though they taste great together. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's really, really. It's sad for one thing, but I think the saddest thing is on an individual level when you have that person. I'm sorry, are we running low on time?
No, I ain't got to be nowhere. Okay. I was just, how long have we been on though? I'm just curious because I feel like this ain't been too long, but I know it's
hour and a half.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought.
I wasn't sure. I forgot where it was until you asked where it was, but it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's a good one. See, it's time fly by so quick.
It does. Well, honestly, when you look at everything we've talked about to this point. I feel like this has been all over the place, and this is why my friends tell me like you need to cut material because I have these like 1 hour podcasts with people, and it's just like you know I need to cut it down to like 10 minutes. Like when we only talked about we talked about R. Kelly, like just cut that R. Kelly and post it as a separate video.
True.
But I don't know. It's like I don't have enough people watching to this point.
Yeah,
like the moment where people are like, hey, can you like make this more digestible? If someone asks me, I'll think about it. But to then, I'm just gonna keep having these fun conversations with people, you know, or do it yourself. You can download my videos. I don't know. You ask permission.
Come on, man, you know people ain't gonna do that shit.
That's what it happens though. I'm saying on YouTube it happens. Obviously, I'm not even close to that level of fame. Yeah. But like when you become a popular YouTuber, normally to troll you or make fun of you, people will take your content, chop your shit up, and I'll be like, if I get a troll that does that, I made it, baby. It's a joke I make. I made it. I want my first troll. First troll.
Imitation is flattery, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't wait. Like I want that love. I don't see hate. I see love.
Exactly. That's what it is.
That's
love
it.
You. They want to be you. I want to wear your skin. You know what I'm saying? I want to be you.
Oh my goodness. I've seen what you've done, and I want more of it.
Dude, I don't know. I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor one day. So, where's Rachel?
Where's Rachel?
Where's the detonator?
One of my favorite movies. One of the most awkward lines from it, too. Where's Rachel?
Where's Harvey Dent?
All right. Well, let's call it 1:36. Stop streaming.